Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's me, SB. So as you can see, I got the Sentro machine out and been seeing some stuff on Pinterest and a little bit on Instagram of these knitted maxi dresses, and I decided I wanted to try it. We're basically just going to be knitting panels on our Sentro machine. So what we're going to have to do is, on the side, we're going to have to switch it from T, which is tubular, to P for panel. I like to start on this side. And as you can see, it stops, and we're going to start working back. The yarn that I'm going to use is this yarn here. So this is a Lion brand Baby Soft, and it is in circus print. And I thought it would look cute as a little dress. Okay, so I also have some waist yarn here, and we are going to go ahead and cast on in our normal way that we normally cast on. So I go until it stops all the way. Since this is just the waist yarn, I'm using the middle tensioner. And we're going to go back. And now I'm just going to go very slowly. And this can be a little challenging to get used to. So we're back around to our white peg. We're going to go back down, and it's going to wrap around this peg here. And we're going to continue on. Let's do 10 rows. Okay, back around. Now on these ones here, you might have to drop it down because it's going to get caught because there's really nothing there to hold it. And then, there we go. Continue on. There we go. As you can see, this is kind of loose. That's okay. This is why we added the waist yarn. Pull that last stitch tight, and we tighten that up. Okay, so right here, this is where we're going to go ahead and cut our waist yarn off. And we're going to go ahead and get this peg back up. And we're going to drop that in the center. And now we're going to attach our actual yarn that we're going to be making our dress with. And we just do that by dropping this in between our pegs here. So this is the peg that we're going to be working on right here. And this is the peg that is not worked. And for this one, I'm going to go with the tension guide that is closest to the machine. And we're just going to continue on with our main thread. And I'm just going to tighten my thread up just a little bit, my yarn. Now, a thing to remember about this dress that you are making on the Sentro is that it is going to be see-through, so yeah, just keep that in mind. I'll put up how many rows I actually do in the corner there because I'm not actually counting right now, so I'm going to have to go back and count. When you're working in panel mode, you do have to have a manual counter, so keep that in mind. I will be back whenever I get to the point where, yeah, I'm ready to show you the next steps. So you are going to make 2 of these panels exactly the same. They're going to be the same length and everything. If you do need to make it bigger, I would suggest that you make a smaller panel on less pegs. I do have a video on how to make smaller panels on the Sentro, so I'll put a link up there for you guys, and then I'll be back whenever I have all my panels done. So another little tip that I have for you is to grab these binder clips and just put them on the edge of your work here, and that's going to help keep the stitches on the edges down, so you're not constantly having to stop and redo it. As you can see, they just fall right down, and I don't have to worry about stopping once I reach the end. I do have to stop and use my manual stitch counter though. That's the only thing about working in panel mode, is that we have to stop every round and count it. So far I've only got like 26, so yeah. Alright, as you can see here, I have 199 rows. I decided to only do 200 rows, simply because I think it's going to be better. And it is just one long panel that we created, and I'm going to work up another one and see how that turns out, because I'm not sure if this is actually going to, like, it is super duper long. As you can see, it is really stretchy, and I think it will fit me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast off the way I normally would, by using a knitting needle, a circular knitting needle, and then just casting off these stitches so that way they look nice and neat. So yeah, I just have a random circular needle. I think it'll fit in between. It should. And we're going to be very, very careful not to drop anything. So my yarn is still attached to the ball, and we're going to go all the way around and hope nothing falls off, and hope that 200 rounds is enough. Because from the other tutorials that I kind of looked at, they all make them really, really long, and I'm short, so like one girl did 410 rows, and I was a little concerned about that, because that is quite a bit. All right, there we go. So now I'm just going to go through and try not to split the yarn, and I'll zoom y'all in real quick so y'all can see what I'm doing. There we go. And I'm just going to work around this entire piece. Let's get that out of the way. Just pop these on there. No! Now I gotta be real careful with this, because these are gonna pop off. This is why I don't like doing it like this, because the stitches pop off really, really easily, and I have to be real mindful of what I'm doing. It is like so difficult. I did drop a stitch earlier. I don't know if you saw that. Kind of freaked out a little bit, but I can fix it whenever I go through and do it, because usually I don't go all the way around like I did. I don't know why I did it like this, but usually I do one at a time or three at a time because of that, because I always drop stitches whenever I'm doing this. All right. Okay, there we go. Now I got it on my circular needle, and we're all removed from the knitting machine. Now, real quick, I'm going to show you something. Now, if we do this method, We could even shape this top area to make it look super cute, more like an actual top. But since I wanted to keep it pretty simple, we're just gonna make it the way I've seen everybody else make it, and make it just like a flat, you know, I don't know what kind of shoulder you call it, I guess a flat shoulder. All right, so I'm gonna switch out my knitting needle to a US 10 because I think that's a little closer to the gauge of the Sentro. We still have the yarn attached. There it is. Okay, so the yarn should still be attached. I actually messed up and cut mine, but that's okay. That's no big deal. We can work through that for sure. But don't be me and don't cut your yarn. It's just habit. But anyways, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cast off our stitches, and we're gonna do a stretchy cast off. So it's gonna use up more yarn, but it's gonna be super stretchy. So we're gonna knit the first 2 stitches like you normally would, but instead of passing our first stitch over our second, we're actually gonna go through both of our stitches just like that. And we are going to knit it, and that's going to be 1 stitch bound off, and we're going to repeat the process. So basically it's a decrease bind off, and it's going to make the top look much cleaner, and it's going to make it super stretchy, which is what we want. Alternatively, if you don't want to do this bind off, you can use bigger needles. The needles that I'm using here are a size US 10. You could definitely go up higher and it'll make it even better. Now, as you can see, here's our bind off edge here, and it looks pretty neat, but it's going to be stretchy. So yeah, I'm going to continue on with that. And by the way, whenever you're working flat panel mode and you have a 48 pin Sentro, you're actually doing 45 stitches total. So just so you know, I might actually get away with this cut yarn here, but then again, I don't know. Barely. I'm barely gonna have enough. Oh, we're so close to being done. Oh no. Oh, great. I'm gonna have to attach more yarn just for this little bit, I bet. Oh, great. Great. I might just finish up these by doing a normal bind off because I did miss up. And that's okay, it's just at the end. It's not gonna be too dramatic. Sometimes that's what you gotta do, you gotta improvise. All right, there we go. All nice and bound off. And you're gonna see how stretchy it is. There we go. That's perfect. That's what I wanted. Because with the normal bind off, as you can see right here at the end, that I had to do the normal bind off, it is not stretchy at all. I mean, it is not going anywhere. But this one, it's like, woo, woo. It's almost as good as this end here. All right. Enough of that. I hope you got the gist of what I was doing there. Yeah, basically bound off the edge. This is going to be the top of my dress. This is going to be the bottom, which I will figure out how to, you know, bind this off somehow, because it is still, these stitches are technically still live. I'll meet you here in a minute. Told you I'd be back. Okay, so we got our panels all done and I bound off the tops as you saw in the previous clip. I actually had to add more yarn for this one at the bind off because I ran out of yarn. But this all together probably took about 1.5 skeins of this baby soft yarn. So just to give you an idea, 400 rows total, because we made 2 panels, each 200. That's pretty good, I think. I decided to do something that I rarely ever do whenever I'm doing stuff like this is I actually made a gauge for you guys. Seeing as it should be pretty similar across all machines, but just in case, you know, make your own gauge, swatch if you so choose. So this is what I got. Excuse my handwriting if you can even see that, but this is what I got right here. Since we have a total of 45 stitches going across, I used the Lion brand Baby Soft Circus print in sport weight. And my gauge for this was 9 rows per 2 inches, 7 stitches per 2 inches. So that translates to 4.5 rows per inch or 3.5 stitches per inch and 3.5 stitches per inch. Sorry, I can't talk right now. But anyways, this is a very stretchy, so I did the math. So 45 stitches is a total of 13 inches unstretched. So when it's just like totally flat, it should be about 13 inches. I don't know how true that is, but it's really hard to tell because you just want it like relaxed, and it is like so hard to measure it. Yeah, because these squares here are each an inch, and this, you can't see it over here, it's like off camera, but it's a total of 14 inches. And yeah, that's pretty dang close. But it is ultra stretchy, so we have a lot of, like, it's gonna stretch to, I don't know, what is that? Over 20 inches. Yeah. So it's gonna have a significant amount of stretch. Anyways, let's get back to the task at hand. I wanted to share that with you. If you wanted to know how long, you know, you need it. For 200 rows, this was a total of 44 inches, which is perfect for me because I am a short person and I don't need something that is like be to my ankles. That's crazy. So anyways, now let's go ahead and get these two things together. What we're going to do is we are going to put our right sides together. So right sides, we're gonna have all these strings everywhere. And if you want, you can use some stitch markers, or what I have nearby are these binder clips. That's what I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna put these two together like that and get the other end. And remember, the right sides are together. And I'm using the bound off edge because I'm still not sure what I want to do with the bottom edge, if I just want to, you know, bind it off and just leave it like that, or add something at the bottom. We'll see, we'll see. Okay, go ahead and put these on there. So once we get this together, we are going to determine how long we want our shoulders to be, because this is going to be our shoulder seam. And this is also going to be our neck opening. So remember, it's like super stretchy. And I think what I'm going to do is I am going to sew up maybe like 4 inches. So I'm going to have to get some new yarn here. just enough to work with. Okay, so I am just gonna start at the end. This is the only thing about working with this type of fabric, is that it curls so bad. So I said about 4 inches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, about right here is where we are going to start. And what I like to do at the end is just place a slip knot. So that way we can just tighten that up. And that's gonna lock everything in place. Like that. And now I'm just gonna whip stitch across. Now we don't wanna lose a lot of that stretch, but we do want it to be, you know, secure. You can also do another stitching method, whichever one you're comfortable with. Whip stitching is just a little easier. But don't worry guys, if this works out really, really well, I will definitely be putting out an actual tutorial for this. I mean, this is kind of a tutorial, but not really, because I really don't know what I'm doing either. So it's like the blind leading the blind, you know? Although we're gonna get to where we're going, it's gonna have some bumpy roads for sure. I think we did it. We made it across. I'm gonna go through this end part here. Just make sure everything gets tied in. And I like to go in one more time and just put my needle through that loop that it creates, and then it'll kind of create a knot right there. Of course, we got all this extra stuff going on. Now, what happened here? There we go. All right, it looks a little messy, but we got it on there. We got one of them sewn on. There it is. And yeah, you can see it on the other side, but I don't think anybody's really gonna notice it too much. All right, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so welcome to my floor. I didn't have enough room on my tabletop to show you guys this. That worked out pretty good. Next time I might just do 3.5 inches for the shoulder seams, so that way it has a little more room around the neck, because it is a little bit tight, but it's not bad. So now, after all that, we are gonna put this all out with the right sides together again. And I'm actually gonna start at the bottom. Is I'm gonna put my edges together. And I got some clips here. I got some actual clips. And I got some binder clips that you can use as well, because I don't have many of these clippies. And I'm just gonna match up my seams. Match everything up together. Get them as close as I can. And I'm just going to place a clip right there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Another thing that I might do differently next time if I make this again is maybe do a different cast on, like a permanent cast on, instead of like the normal cast on that we do for like tubes and stuff. Okay, so now we got that done. Top is done. I'm gonna kind of give it a little shake. And now the fun part is going through this whole thing and clipping everything together. Isn't it lovely how it curls? My God, it's horrible. I cannot deal with that. I'm gonna put a clip right here. I hate, this is why I don't like knitted items like this, because the curl is the worst. I cannot stand it. Okay. Yeah, the next time that I make this, if I use stripe yarn like I did this time, I'm gonna try to match up the stripes, because sometimes it just bothers me when like the stripes don't match up. And I might give this a try on since we have the clips on there, just to see what it's gonna look like. Make sure it's actually gonna go around my body. Because it's all well and good whenever, you know, you're nice and skinny and this is actually gonna fit. I mean, this is gonna stretch out so much. That's why I was thinking maybe of doing extra panels like on the side and then seaming those in to the sides just to make it a little bigger, and maybe doing that in a contrasting color, like a solid color or something. I think that would look really cute. Fun times. The joys of wanting to do things yourself. There we go. Alright, so as you saw in the previous clip, it fit beautifully, and I totally forgot about the armholes. So I just moved these clips here down just a little bit. And that is the good thing about having striped yarn, so you can actually see like where you need to have your armholes at. So I'm going to move that one down. So that's where I'm going to end. I'm actually going to start right here at this stripe. I'm going to actually crochet this closed because I think it's going to be quicker as well. As far as the crochet hook that I'm going to use, I might just use one that is similar in size to this, like an eye hook probably is what I'll use. Okay, so I'm going to attach my yarn right here at this edge here with my crochet hook. And yeah, we'll do it like that. So you're definitely going to need at least 3 skeins of yarn if you're doing it exactly the way that I am. I'll weigh it out for you guys at the end to see how much I'm actually going to need, or how much you're actually going to need if you want to do it like this. And I was really surprised that it actually fit me. I thought I was like, somebody was going to have to cut me out of it or something. Good thing that it wasn't sewn up already. All right, so I'm just going to go through and sew this all together. I am going to do a single crochet, but you can do a slip stitch if you'd like. Single crochet is just easier for me, and I don't have to worry about doing it like too terribly tight. And let me actually see what that's looking like on the other side. Go ahead and take that off. Yeah, see, that's looking much better on the right side of our work, as you can see, it's not going to look as messy. And with the curliness of our knit work, it's actually going to kind of hide that, which I love, because I hate that front part here. My seams at the shoulders look so gnarly. In case you don't know how to do a single crochet, or you don't know how to crochet period, you can just seam it up with, you know, needle and your yarn. Or if you have a sewing machine, maybe you can try sewing it up. I was too scared to try it. I do have a sewing machine. All right, so I'll see you whenever I finish this up. Okay, so I have everything all seamed up except for the bottom part. I still have the waist yarn attached. So my plan was to do a ribbing with knitting needles at the bottom. Now we could have done this on the Sentro, but I don't have the proper tools to actually do it on the Sentro, because you need a little loom pick, or whatever you call them, to actually pick the things off and, you know, go back and do it. So anyways, what we're going to do is I'm going to use the knitting needles that I used earlier, and I'm just going to pick up these stitches here all the way around, and I'm going to knit a ribbing at the bottom, because as you can see how this curls, that's what's going to happen at the bottom. And I really don't want that to happen. I want it to be flat. I have it right now right side out. And I'm just going to go through and pick up these stitches. Now, I'm probably not going to pick them up correctly, but we will just get them all in there, and we can situate them later after we get everything off and the waist yarn off and everything. So all I'm doing is I'm picking up these little, what do you call them? Little bumpies on the back, because this is the right side, this is the back side. And I'm just picking these up with my knitting needle. So yeah, if we were to do this, if we were just to take off the waist yarn right now, as it is, everything would just unravel. And if we were to go through and use, let's say, a crochet hook to kind of like single crochet or slip stitch around all of these, I feel like it's going to make it too stiff. And it's not going to stretch the way we need it to stretch, especially since, you know, this is really skinny and it stretches out a lot. I don't know if you've seen like the amount of stretch that this thing has is like insane. But yeah, that's all I'm doing is picking up these stitches, going all the way around. So we have all of these now on the needle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unravel this right here. It's just going to be easier to unravel it now rather than later, and hopefully we got them all of them on. Yes, perfect. They're all on the needle, as you can see here. Now I just unraveled that little bit right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the opposite end, and I'm going to attempt to find the end here. And usually you can find it fairly easily. let's see. There it is. And we can pull this tight, and it should start tightening everything up. And this is going to pull everything out. There we go. And if we did it right, everything should be attached, except for these last ones. Because these, I was not sure where it was. Because this got all like weird. There it is. I'm just going to pick these out. It's a little different whenever you're working in a panel, because they tend to get a little knotted at the ends. Not knotted, but you know, they get locked in more easily at the ends. There we go. And yeah, we got everything all situated now. Now let's continue working on the other side, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on this side, picking up our little bumpies on this side. Alright, so now I have all my stitches on here, and now I'm going to go ahead and attach my yarn. So now I'm just going to go through, I'm going to make a slip knot, pop this on here, and start knitting. And I'm going to knit one row around, rather. So really I should grab a stitch marker. So yeah, I'm going to mark this because this is the beginning of our round. And yeah, if you don't want to do this, by all means, just cast off, bind off, whatever you need to do at the end, and do that. This is just what I am going to do, simply because I think it's going to look a little bit nicer doing it this way. You can bind off with a crochet hook. Yeah, I think if you do that, it's going to be a little less stretchy, and it's going to be more tight at the bottom, and we want it to be kind of, you know, stretchy, so we can get our legs through there. So yeah, we're just going to work around knitting. As you can see, we're just knitting our work. And then I'm going to do a simple ribbing around the edge. There we go. We've got all our stitches knitted, and we're back around. Let's go ahead and move that. And if we have to fix some holes, we'll do that later. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, so now time for the ribbing. I'm going to go back and count all of my stitches and see how many I got, so that way I know exactly how my ribbing is going to look. Okay, so I'm just going to do my ribbing in a knit 2 purl 2, you know, the basic type of ribbing that you see on everything. I think I might have miscounted because I counted 88 stitches. And I think that's wrong, but because I was looking at it and I was like, I didn't drop any stitches as far as I know, but it could be the stitches on the side too from where we seamed it. So that's why I'm like, well, let's just do a knit 2 to purl 2. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna knit 2 and purl 2 all the way around for about, I don't know, 1 to 2 inches. So yeah, I'll be back whenever I finish that. Wow, what a long journey it has been. Actually, it hasn't been a long journey. This was actually the fastest project that I've ever made, like a full-fledged wearable project that I have ever made. Well, anyways, here is the bottom that I did. I noticed I did miss up in my stitch count, but you know what? You can't even notice it, so you know, I'm not gonna point it out. But either way, here is the ribbed edging at the bottom. And I went ahead and weaved in all of the ends, which wasn't so bad. And here is the top of our maxi dress. And as you can see, this little edging here rolls down, which is perfect because it makes a cute little edging. And here is our shoulder seam, which is not too bad, actually. I thought it was gonna be a lot worse looking, really, than what it is. I mean, really, if you're looking at it really, really hard, you can tell. In hindsight, what I would do different is just single crochet or slip stitch it closed, and then no problems. But yeah, other than that, I will show you what it looks like whenever I have it on. But yeah, this was a super easy project. I would suggest that if you are going to do this project, make a swatch first and then measure it out. Like, get a measuring tape and measure how many stitches you have. I'll show you real quick how to do that. So you don't want it stretched out or anything, you just want it like normal, like after you take it off of the machine, just, you know, kind of let it relax, but don't stretch it out. And I have a knitting gauge here, but you don't need this at all. You can just use a measuring tape, and you would put it at the edge of your stitch, which you can see because it's a little V. You put it right at the edge of your V, just like that. And then you're gonna measure, I would measure 4 inches because it's more accurate. It gives you a better indication of your gauge, but 2 inches is just fine. So for me, it was 1, 2, cat hair, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows. So these vertical ones here, or sorry, yeah, vertical ones here are rows. The horizontal are stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches. Did I measure the last time? No, I didn't. So we have 7 by 9, and that's what I got for this gauge for this yarn. Now every yarn is going to be different, so you're going to have to do this for every single yarn unless you use the same yarn over and over and over again to make something. But yeah, there it is. It's super cute. I love it. I only did 200 rows for this entire piece, and it looks beautiful. Anyways, I might do an actual dedicated tutorial eventually, because there are some things that I would do a little differently. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode or video. Let me know if you want to see more wearables that you can make on the Sentro, and I will attempt to make them. Yeah, put them down in the comments down below, like if you want to see a type of garment made on the Sentro, and I will attempt it for sure. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Happy knitting, and I will see you later. Bye.